Hello, Flickin' Fanatics, and welcome to another episode of Flickin' Reels News and Views. With me today, I have, of course, my co-host Scott Fox, but special guest, somebody that hasn't been on in a little while, Allison Salamoni, here to talk about behavioral geekology, a big thing that we have coming up on our channel on all the audio platforms. But she'll tell you more about that after we dive into our topics today. And it's going to be a little more freeform today. Listen to those groovy vibes we got going. That's because it's just a laid-back, cool, chill episode today. We're going to be talking about guilty pleasures in films, our favorite films to share with people. We got some channel news, as mentioned previously. And then, of course, we'll be wrapping it up with our weekly recommendations. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you in a few.
This is the sound of dun, 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 dun. It's the Flickin' Reel Show.
Hello, and as you guys know, we are your source for news, reviews, and daily discourse. Allison, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi, friends. How are you guys?
We're doing so good.
Doing great. Glad you're here.
I'm excited to be back. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Your voice has returned.
How are you
For
feeling?
the most part.
Yeah.
Are you finally back to full strength?
Not 100%. I'm still, waking up with the nice little cough. I'm figuring out this stupid ear infection thing that's come on, and just we're just going day by day. We're just living life. We're just doing our best. I think this permanent rasp in my voice is just going to be stuck forever at this point. So I'm just getting used to it.
As long as you can work it.
Phoebe Buffay would be very jealous.
Yeah.
That was what gave her the
Smelly
good
cat.
sandwich.
Smelly cat.
Yeah, exactly. I think Sean actually said that to me one time too. He's like, just keep sounding like Phoebe. It's fine.
Just don't get so desperate you start licking other people's cups in order to keep it.
No, never. I work with children. I know.
Oh my goodness. You can never trust a drink that a kid's drank out of.
Not at all. Nope.
All right, before we get into everything, we do have a few things to talk about. Whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to the podcast on any of your favorite podcast apps, we are so happy that you're joining us today, and we can't wait to share our thoughts with you. Thank you for always supporting us. You are the reason we keep doing this every week. And before we get going, we want to remind those of you watching, whether live or on replay, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel here and also on Twitch. Some of you guys watch us on Twitch, and that's fantastic. We could use more followers on there. We're making our way to 100, so let's make that happen. Just make sure to click the little bell icon. Make sure you don't miss any of our new uploads and things like that. And thumb up the video. You are our greatest weapon against the brutal YouTube algorithm. Lastly, if you wish to support the channel, there are many great ways to do so. You can either visit our Streamlabs link and ask your questions there and donate as much or as little as you so desire. YouTube also provides the option to use super chats, and then that makes sure that you get your questions asked first, and it then gets highlighted so we can see it. If you're constantly on the go and you can't catch us live, then please follow us on all of our audio platforms, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to. Links are in the description, and we have merch. Look at this. This one's not available, but the one Scott's wearing is.
Who doesn't want to walk around with cartoon Jesse all over their the front of their shirts?
Yeah. Even more fun is if you just get one of those little front baby backpacks and just carry actual me around on the streets. I think that's a good time.
Great. I love it.
So you get t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So let's get into some of the topics today. And I wanted to open with a fun one. And this is kind of in lieu of a watch along we have coming tonight, which we'll talk more detail about here later when we do some of the channel news. But I wanted to ask everybody, what are some of your, it could be a TV show or a movie, what are some of your guilty pleasures? And Allison, because you are not on the show as often, I definitely want to start with you. See,
guilty
how when
pleasures.
Shug says it's questionable, and I have to.
Anything Shug says should be completely questionable because I co-host a show with him as well. So all of it's questionable. Guilty pleasures. I mean, I talk about it all the time, but I'm obsessed with just trash reality TV. Like I can't get enough of it. There was a show, and I really need them to bring it back, but there was a Netflix show called Love is Blind that came out like right around, I want to say it was like right around Scott's just shaking his head at me. He's like, I know what you're talking about.
There's literally a show for everything.
There is. And this whole thing was these people like if you watched it you would understand, like, but people like get into a little they blind dates, like they go into like little pods where they can't see each other and they just talk, and then they're supposed to like fall in love and propose to each other, and then they get to meet in person, and then they get moved to like living together, and it's all supposed to be done and then they're supposed to get married by like the end of like 2 months or something like that. It was glorious dumpster fire of TV, and I need another season so bad. Like Netflix reality TV is literally the one thing that I have to put on just to like zone out. It makes me so happy. I can't get enough of it.
Can I say one thing on Netflix that really caught me off guard that Lauren introduced me to, and I was like, well, I was not ready to feel as hard as I am, and that's Netflix's rendition of Queer Eye.
I love it so much.
I was really like reserved. I was like, no hatred. I just like, this is not my bag.
It's not Carson. It's not Jay. Yeah, no, I get it. It wasn't.
I was like, I don't really watch reality or reality adjacent television, and she sure did get me to watch like 8 episodes of it, and I cried like 4 times.
Sobbed. We still haven't finished the newest season because it makes me so sad that I have to wait like however many years to like get new ones. But I wouldn't even call that show is just amazing though. Anything Netflix or like my other biggest one is Hallmark Christmas movies. Ooh. Like I'm obsessed. It's a problem. Like I actually record them on our DVR, the ones that I want to watch the next day. I can't tell if Scott's frozen or if he's just looking at me like I'm absurd.
With Scott, it's a 50-50 shot.
It's just boring into my soul with these guilty pleasures that I have. I can't get enough Hallmark Christmas movies. It's the exact same storyline every single time, and it's fine. And I love them, and I'm okay with it because they're just so fun to watch.
Scott, what is your guilty pleasure, and why is it the Hobbit trilogy? Are you present?
Oh,
we lost to Scott.
Scott feelings.
Scott will be back momentarily. Guilty pleasure. So I've gone back and forth on whether or not this is something to be considered a guilty pleasure, but I think when I go online, I think where it falls on Rotten Tomatoes helps determine whether it's a guilty pleasure. You know, if it's like, if it's rotten and you love the hell out of it, I think that qualifies, right? Mm-hmm. So mine's going to be the James Gunn written, I always forgot who directed it, but the first live action Scooby-Doo movie. I can quote it from back and center.
It's so funny you said that. Who is it? Is it Raj? Was it the same guy that did Never Been Kissed?
I can look it up. That is the power of the internet.
Hold on, I think because it's the same guy. Because I did a podcast episode with Chris Lopez for Chris's sake on the second installment of the live action Scooby-Doo franchise. It's
not the same. That has one funny line in it. The rest of the movie is like,
yeah. Oh, it's 2002. Yeah, Raja Gosnell.
Look at you. But we're all here for Emil Montevarius and Spooky Island. I did a watch along because Taylor Robinson from Finally Tailored and Jacob London talked about, we were talking about how much we love that movie. Not Jacob so much, but Taylor. And I was like, if you guys did a watch along, I would be there. And I think they said bet. And so we sure did do a watch along. It was a really good time. I love that movie. And as I got some other ones that you can see in the thumbnail, and I'll revisit those in a second. But Scott, I don't know if you heard me, but I was wondering why The Hobbit is your guilty pleasure.
Why? I'll be honest. As far as movies go, The Hobbit is not a guilty pleasure. The I actually do enjoy those, but I'll be honest. My guilty pleasures, as far as things to watch, are actually documentaries. And more to the left. Sorry, documentaries, and I like to watch nature documentaries, alien documentaries, paranormal documentaries.
Aliens.
I'm very much into learning at all times. I try and absorb information and take it in. And so I love documentaries, also war documentaries about World War II. History Channel is one of my favorite channels, even though I know a bunch of their stuff is all fluff. It's not really about learning anymore, but it's still entertaining. Then on YouTube, there's a channel called Nuke's Top 5 where he recaps the top 5 paranormal things every week. He does great videos, and it's a quick, easy way to find like really strange, like this person saw a shadow. And I know, hinting to behavior geekology, I always find the psychological portions of the paranormal to be enlightening because things like pareidolia, where your mind wants to see a face in the foggy mirror, that doesn't mean there's a face in the foggy mirror.
Right.
Sport documentaries, absolutely. I take the 30 for 30 on ESPN. Awesome. And then the real weird guilty pleasure is baking shows. Like the Great British Baking Show. I've seen every one of those seasons on Netflix.
Is that a guilty pleasure though, or is that just good? Is that just good content? I feel like that's good content.
I consider it a guilty pleasure in that if I'm bored and don't have anything else to watch, I'll be like, I could watch a baking show again. Oh, I've already seen this one. I'll watch it again. I still want to see how they made this tart with the the berries on the top. There's something captivating about it.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys can help me because I've watched a lot of it, but I don't know any of the names. There was that one German guy who looked like Winnie the Pooh personified, who was definitely our favorite. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about. And then one of the I guess you call him like co-host with like the long black hair is actually old Greg.
Yeah. Oh, so they're both. He's from one. Oh my god. See, I know him from. I like him from the British show called The IT Crowd.
Yes.
Okay. He's the one who's in the closet. He's Richard,
his name is Noel, and I'm blanking on his last name. But that guy is hilarious. Yeah, and on the IT Crowd, his randomness where he's like in the server room. And comes out almost like a vampire, and then
because
does a couple things and disappears.
He turns
money and I need it now. It's my money and I need
Fielding.
it now.
Hey, Matty Gunner in the chat, but I just want to quickly take note of Streamlab that we got on from the one and only Shug. I bet he's just so happy that I stopped calling him Suge. But I mean, you put an E on it. If you put SUG, well, I'd probably say Sug. I'd never get it right. Anyways, Shug says his guilty pleasures are Charmed, Grease 2, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, Hairspray, The Help. The Help is a Academy Award nominated film, but if you want to call it a guilty pleasure, that's fine.
Sure.
Melrose Place, 90210, Angel, Maury. Oh, Maury, that's one for sure. And any daytime soap opera. Well, that's listen. I grew up watching Passions with my grandma.
That is such.
I don't think I've ever gotten so excited on a stream in my life.
The fact that all three of us at some point were addicted to that show is ridiculous.
I used to.
It had Satan in it. It was a soap opera that Satan appeared in. Anyways, he says, much love to you guys. Hi to my favorite co-host, who is amazing and made my life better. Now let's geek out about Passions.
I used to set. I'm gonna cry. I'm laughing so hard. I used to set because you had to record things on a videotape, and I used to, because I was at school when it would come on, so I used to set up the VCR to record at that time.
So if you want to hear Allison's sick voice, you just have to make her emotional.
So when I was younger, now we're talking 20 years ago, I was a closing manager at Fred Meyer, relief 40? Manager. It's weird. My computer cut out. I gotta go. But I worked the closing shift, And so I would sleep until like 9 a.m., then get up because I believe Passions was on around 10 a.m. and I would get up in time to watch that while I had breakfast. And that was kind of how I started my day. And it became this weird routine thing. And next thing you know, I was like, I've watched like every episode of this for like 3 months.
I'm going to need Maddie Gunner's band to do a cover of the Passions theme song just for me. Like, I need this in my life.
You say
Maddie,
just for you.
Just for me. No one else. I'm the only one. Oh my God. I love Passions so much. So much with the Jesse Metcalf of it all. And
I don't remember anything about the show other than just so growing up, when I got
there was a witch named Tabitha and she had a little boy named Timmy.
Nope.
That
I do remember. I sure do now.
That was a doll to everybody
Timmy
else.
and Tabitha, yes.
R.I.P. Timmy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
he passed away probably about 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would get off of school and the bus would drop me off at my grandparents' house and my parents would pick me up from there. That's how I stayed within the district. My grandma had like 3 channels and at my house I had like 5. So there wasn't a lot of options. So none of the kids' cartoons, the after school cartoons were on at my grandma's house. I would get home, turn on the TV, Passions. So that is how I got through my middle school years, was watching Passions.
If we could find this streaming anywhere, I think we need to just start doing like watch-alongs of Passions.
Weekly Passion reviews. Oh my
Weekly
gosh.
Passion reviews.
That's awesome.
I definitely like Passions more than Days of Our Lives because it's supernatural.
Oh, of course.
Anyways,
Of course.
Thank you.
It was just
Jen,
the
for derailing.
storylines were so ridiculous on that show. Of course, then again, every soap opera storyline is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah.
Oh my God. Do you remember the whole storyline where Beth stole Sheridan and like kept her hidden so she could steal her baby because she was in love with Lou? It was wild. It was such a wild show.
I think I may have escaped the death grip of Passions on my life by that point, but there were still it was always because it had that paranormal twist to it, there was always just an unexpected layer to everything in the show.
Everything.
Yeah. You're always waiting for the dead person to come back.
Yeah.
Or somebody who hasn't been on the show to make some random grand reappearance.
And of course, back then, I had no idea that the girl playing Sheridan was Mackenzie Westmore, daughter of Michael Westmore. And then I'm watching Face Off with when Frank and I first started dating, and it was like one of the first seasons of Face Off, and she's on there. I was like, oh my God, that's Sheridan from Passion. She was like, you do realize that's like one of the biggest makeup artists in Hollywood's daughter, right? Like, it's not Sheridan from Passions. That's Mackenzie Westmore. And I'm like, nope. But now I do.
Sorry, when you said Face Off, I immediately thought Nicolas Cage and John Travolta.
So did I.
My brain didn't go with you.
Speaking of guilty pleasures.
Oh my gosh,
Speaking of guilty pleasures. There we go.
So good.
There we go.
Yes. Nicolas Cage had a chunk of time where he was the best thing ever. There's a new movie coming out that I want to see with Nicolas Cage where he plays himself. He plays some weird reinvented version of himself.
It's like the unbearable weight of something like Talent or something like that
of
with
being
him and
Nicolas
Pedro
Cage.
Pascal. Yeah.
Yes. It looks so good. But yeah, off topic. But Nicolas Cage, The Rock, Con Air, Face Off, that late 90s, early 2000s era Nicolas Cage was gold.
Just because Mike Deacon's in the chat, another guilty pleasure is Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
I'm glad you said Annihilation because I was getting ready. I was getting the fists up. I was like, 95 is a gym. It's not a guilty pleasure. But
what about Mortal Kombat 2020? There's
no pleasure in that. I take no joy in watching it. There's bad, good, and bad, bad. That is bad, bad.
You're right, Maddie Diner. You're right.
Absolutely. Okay, to round up the guilty pleasure talk, of course, unless you guys want to go to the Streamlabs and put your list on there, we will happily read them and go on another 10-minute tirade about a soap opera. But as seen in the thumbnail here, a couple that come to mind outside of, it's not We Don't Talk About Bruno, it's We Don't Talk About Mortal Kombat 2021.
Yeah.
I love the Scooby-Doo movie, obviously. Trimmers as a franchise, like they do get progressively worse, but I sure do enjoy all of them. The first one I think is actually kind of a good movie. It's a B movie.
The first one's fantastic.
It's a good B movie. And then
No.
after that,
No. The first one's a low-rated A movie.
Okay.
Give it its due.
It is a movie. You are correct.
It's a movie. That's exactly what we will call it.
Or is Shug talking about The Quest with Jean-Claude
Wait,
Van Damme?
Or no, wait,
'Cause-
isn't the quest the one with the lake, and then there's the crane thing under the lake? Please tell me.
No, I think it's the Van Damme movie. If it's the Van Damme movie, it's gold. Van Damme made a lot of B fight movies.
What am I thinking of? Is there a movie just called Quest? You are correct. That is Van Damme. What is this? I'm gonna look. Hang on 1 second.
I just watched Bloodsport for the first time a couple weeks ago.
First time?
For the first time, yeah.
Oh man, that was so good. Bloodsport's fantastic.
Oh my God.
Also,
Speaking-
Bolo Young, the man. Bolo Young used to be so intimidating.
Yeah.
We could we could talk bad fight movies all day long.
Okay, listen up 1 second. I'm not crazy. I'm blowing this up. So you said the Quest, the Van Damme movie, right? Look at this.
That's what Scott said, yes.
Look at this. What is this movie called? Hang on. Go. Load. That is The Quest. Has nothing to do with Van Damme. It is a movie about this kid that thinks that there's a monster in the lake, but it turns out that it's a crane with an air bubble that, like, every couple days it comes up and it's covered in, like, swamp matter. And it looks like you can see it in the background there. It looks like a creature. And he discovers all along it was just a crane. 1986, The Quest. Get out of here.
That's hilarious.
I'm going with Van Damme's The Quest was better, and that movie is definitely a guilty pleasure because it's literally Kickboxer, Bloodsport, Kickboxer 2, all those movies rolled into one with no storyline. Just randomly, we're in this place trying to fight for this golden dragon. Then after I win, we're gonna float away in a hot air balloon. It's the strangest movie ever. Also, can we get the dance scene? I pull up that on YouTube for my kids all the time because I'll start doing the slow clap dance from Kickboxer, and my kids will be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, you don't know?
For the dance, can we also? Look, the best dance scene in any film that would be considered a guilty pleasure.
$20 Streamlabs, Scott is going to back up a couple feet and do his rendition of the Kickboxer dance.
I love it.
Here we go. Oh, you guys get your wallets out.
Get your wallets out, friends. Oh, he's moving furniture and everything. This is dedication.
I've never been so grateful. Hang on 1 second. Right. Here we go. Where's the money? There it is. That's the money. No! I full screen react.
I can't pull the full splits. I can't the hip, the clap, and then the hip jive. I can't drop to the splits to punch the next guy. But I tell you, that move, my brother John and I used to do that all the time. And still to this day, we'll randomly be at a gathering and a song will come on and we'll just turn and start. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's so
absolutely
good.
amazing.
So good.
I'm so glad I was here for this.
It's my money and I need it now.
That's for Scott's dance, I'm sure.
My money and I need it
You're welcome.
Once again, we have Shug donating to the channel. Thank you so much, buddy. We appreciate you.
That movie is so good. So good.
Shug says, wait, what? Allison, excuse me, Bloodsport for the first time? Oh no, what about The Last Dragon? Kickboxer, Double Impact, Lionheart. Also, I'll get hate for this. Street Fighter, the movie, is a guilty pleasure. No, I mean, you have Raul, what's his name? Adam's Family. Gomez. Raul Julia? Is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah, as in Bison, and Scott is broken again.
But to answer Shug's question, I have seen Street Fighter when I was like a kid, but the rest of them, no, I have not.
Oh, there we go. We have to get a Allison watching. That's weird. We have two Scott Foxes in the lobby. We'll pull the one that's moving.
So we rearranged my desk and it moved me too far away.
I'm just gonna do this because this is fun. Look, there's a fourth Scott. Is it still frozen?
No, he's gone.
I'm just getting black.
It's gone now.
Okay.
Too fun.
Okay,
How
last
yes, and it was Raul Julia. I was trying to say that before I cut out.
I don't believe you. You copied my answer.
You did miss the
No, I said
kickboxer
it-
dance.
I said it
I'm
first.
sorry.
Raul Julia. It also has Kylie Minogue, pop star from Australia. That
Isn't
movie's
Ming Na
loaded.
Wen is in Street Fighter?
Yeah.
She's Chun Li.
Yeah.
So last thing I'll say about guilty pleasures before we move on is if none of you have seen Jimmy Neutron the movie, it is so much funnier than it has any right to be. I didn't even watch the show. What's funny is I have two things on my guilty pleasure list. Scooby-Doo. I never really watched Scooby-Doo. I wasn't that into it. But the live action movie, the first one, is so good. Freddie Prinze Jr. and Matthew Lillard and everything. Jimmy Neutron's the same way. I never watched the show. I didn't have Nickelodeon growing up. I was a deprived child, but that movie is gold. You have Nick saying, "Nobody eats my parents unless I say so." Yes. Love that movie. All right, so let's move on to. We'll pretend I had this banner up the whole time. It makes me feel better. Now we're going to move on to our favorite films to share with people, and to be more specific, these are the movies that. Not just our favorite films, but if you know somebody that has never seen said movie, what is your favorite thing to share with them? You know, when you're on the couch and you're watching them watch the movie the whole time, you're not actually watching it. What's that movie for you? Allison, do you have one ready to go?
Oh, always. It's always Casablanca. It's one of my, I mean, it's my favorite film of all time. But when I hear people haven't seen it, it's such a great movie to throw on because it's an hour and 42 minutes, right? So it's super short. It has such great dialogue. It's a war movie without like anything like fighting in it. It takes place over like a span of 24 to 48 hours. It is classic in the sense that there's so many classic lines. There's one of my favorite things to go and watch movies, especially movies that I haven't seen but I know about, is I can pick up on like lines from that movie. So an example was I was watching Superman 2 for the first time, and I've always seen the clip of Zod saying, "Is there no one on this planet who can even challenge me?" And so when the line came out, I was like, "Oh, that's where that's from. That's fun."
Zod.
Yeah. So like that's always really, so I always like getting to like watch people's reactions when they hear "Play It, Sam." You know, Bogey with his "Of all the gin joints in all the towns and all the world, she had to walk into mine." Just watching people watch the final, like the airport, the airfield scene, that whole thing, and then getting to just it's just, I love it. And it's so much fun because it's not a movie that most people like gravitate to because it is so old, but it's just such, I feel like it's such as there's a reason it's I want to say it's still number 2 on the AFI top 100 movie list, and it's on there for a reason. And getting to like, because people are like, "I don't really know if I want to watch it." I mean, it took Frank, we were dating for about 4 or 5 years before or like maybe 3 years before I actually got him to finally watch it with me. And even he said, "It's like, yeah, it's a good movie."
Even Citizen Kane falls in with that category. Older movies, black and white, people who are not avid movie lovers generally have kind of missed out on that era. Mm-hmm. And to go back and revisit them, and then to find how many movies are then cited based off of those, they're gold. Absolute gold.
Let me tell you why the movie is Cats. No. No, for me, there's a multitude of things, but I would be remiss if I didn't bring The Room up as a film that's watching people watch it for the first time. It's definitely one of my favorite pastimes. But aside from that, maybe Princess Bride. Like,
that's a good one.
Robin Hood Men in Tights. Like, there's a lot of classic films that I find to be so funny. I will say though, with those, I feel like I'm always disappointed when I show somebody those movies for the first time, because I feel like if you don't have it in you to have seen them already, it's missed on you. Like, you didn't grow up with it, you know? So that's part of the challenge with it. I like watching really weird stuff that you can be like, "That's a movie I watched, now you have also seen," which was something fun that we did when we were doing Shark Jumpers episodes. Scott is a common casualty on the show.
Scott versus the internet.
That's right.
Another one that I really like showing people, and I think it really is because of Frank, because I lied to him when we first started like talking and dating that I had seen Big Trouble in Little China, and I never did. But that's another really fun movie to show people for the first time, especially to like introduce people to Carpenter and not horror Carpenter, you know, because everyone knows Halloween, you know, The Thing. Like, The Thing is great for the visual effects, but I feel like Big Trouble in Little China or They Live are just really fun. Especially really Big Trouble in Little China, I think, is a really fun movie to introduce people to like good time, fun, ridiculous John Carpenter.
To make Shook feel a little better, he says Men in Tights is classic freak. I would consider anything pre-2000s because now, and yes, it does make us all feel old. If it's in the 90s and older, it's 20 plus years old. And I think once you get to 2 decades, you can consider something a classic. I also feel old. Welcoming Scott back into the stream.
Yeah.
Hello, friend.
Dude, Wi-Fi this morning. Thank you, technology. It allows us to do this, but then it can also be the curse of doing this. I'll be honest, I think it's hard to pick like one movie you really want to do this because it's based on the individual you're sitting with and what they have and have not seen. But there are some movies that really, for me, they hit home. And V for Vendetta is one of those movies that has been seen far fewer times than it should have. So good, especially when you're talking about
time a year ago, that movie, and she loved it.
When you're talking about the stuff we're going through right now, with the way our governments have done things, the control type of aspects, it's all based off of a virus that was released. All this kinds of craziness. I don't want to get our video taken down by talking about anything too much, but the fact that this movie is so reflective, but then it's just freaking good. Plus, possibly my favorite actor, maybe all time, Hugo Weaving, playing V. Despite you don't see his face, the way he conveys his character through voice is unbelievable.
Scott, we have a special
that's what
message.
I'm talking about. Yeah,
a special message came up just for you, and it is from Shug once again, supporting the channel in its entirety, and he says, "Here's $3 for Scott's internet."
Dude, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I think it's $1 for every time it's crapped out on you in the last 30 minutes.
Well, I
love it, Shug.
I moved my desk into a different room to make it easier for my kids to be entertained in a space other than where I was doing this. The problem was I moved away from the router, and then everyone's doing something on their phone right now, it feels like, or streaming a show for the kids on the TV.
Well, now I feel like we just have to have Allison on the show as a buffer. So every time Scott goes down, it's like, it's okay. We can just keep the conversation going.
We'll fix it.
We talk. That's never an issue whatsoever.
So you guys, please, in the comment section below, before we move on and stuff, or on Streamlabs, however you want to do it, let us know your favorite films to share with people, because I feel like that's film as a medium is such a special thing, and art is always fun to share with people, whether it's something that's like a physical piece of art or a comic or a book that you've read. I love sharing experiences with people as something that's digestible like that, and having something to talk about. It's one of the reasons we do this podcast. Honestly, this podcast is all about sharing in the medium of film and television, things like that. So please,
I did have one other one, and I forgot to mention Willow. That is a hardcore childhood favorite. And when I find out people haven't watched Willow, and I want to echo what Allison said, I love watching the people watch the movie.
Yes.
Like, are they going to love the same things I loved? Val Kilmer, also Top Secret from back in the 80s, which is gold as far as comedy. The satire and parody that they do in that movie are awesome. And so I love to experience it with them as they're experiencing the first time. And then I hope that they get some of the deep jokes, because some of those movies have, whether it's humor or some of the action or just some of the mind-bending type stuff. I'm always curious, did you actually catch what you just saw right there?
Mm-hmm.
Did you realize what you just witnessed? My wife hates doing some of that with me, mostly because I pause and explain way too much.
Frank hates showing me movies for the first time because I'm like, wait, what about this? He's like, can you just watch it? Like, can you shh and just watch? And I'm like, yes, but I don't want to. Like, I want to know what's happening. And real quick, too, another one that's a fun dumb one that Frank was very excited to show me, that I was like, this movie is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And if you haven't seen it, I need you guys to go watch it. It's called Killing Gunther. Stupidest movie.
Arnold, right?
I'll write it down.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but without giving too much away. And then, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say that forcing people lately to watch The Rocketeer has been a big MO of mine right now.
You're doing, I would say, the Lord's work, but PJ Campbell's work for sure.
I'm trying for sure.
Yeah.
That movie is highly under.
And now we need another dollar because that is number 4. Yeah, as I said, The Room is such a fun experience, which is why when we are doing our watch along, which we'll talk about here in a second, we have a kind of split between people, Allison, that are watching it for the first time, and people that are very experienced Tommy Wiseau aficionados.
Yeah.
So let's move on from favorite films, and we're going to talk about what's next for the channel. And that's just some of the things that we have coming up here in the immediate future. Now I'm going to bring up a graphic. And Allison, are you ready to shoot your shot?
Let's go. We'll do our best. Yeah, so here is my brand new podcast. The first episode is dropping on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, February 1st, Behavior Geekology. I'm basically talking about what I do for a living, kind of discussing different behavior analytic principles, things like that, and using examples from some of my favorite films, franchises, etc. Yeah, it's kind of just gonna be me ruining everyone's favorite films by giving you the breakdown of why.
Is there
they're
a
doing
dog
what they
dying
do.
over there?
I have dogs in my house barking because my my husband and friends are getting the Uber is here to pick them up. So my apologies. But yeah, so it's the first episode drops Tuesday. We're going to be discussing some functions of behavior using one of my favorite franchises, the Harry Potter franchise. So that'll be really, really fun. And I'm going to get a few more in the can. We're probably we're looking at dropping once every other week, so every other Tuesday for now, so I can make sure. I'm so sorry about my dog. So that way we can make sure, I'm keeping up on it and everything. Maybe eventually we'll move to once a week, but yeah, I'm really, really excited about it. And you guys have been so great and so supportive with it. You can find Behavior Geekology on Twitter at ABA Geekology. And then, of course, you can find me on Twitter at Allison Salamoni and over on the Instagram and all of that as well.
Perfection. All right. There we go. Yeah, I thought, my bad. I thought it was Scott for some reason, and I hit the mute button, and the dogs kept barking, and I was like, "Whoops!"
No worries.
Right. Another big thing that is coming up, as alluded to several times throughout the episode, is tonight. The stream will be starting at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The film itself will be starting about 9. That just gives us a chance to get everyone together, start talking about what we know and don't know about the movie, and that is The Room. Watch along. This is unfortunately not the most updated one. Sean Wingblade will, of course, be there, but look at that lineup. We got Allison, we got Mara Knopic, Rachel Silvestrini, myself, Jeff Alterman, Adam Collins. Really looking forward to doing this. This is definitely one of my favorite things to show people. I've done it several times over the last 4 years, and it is an experience that you will unlikely forget, and I feel like it's kind of contagious. Once you watch this movie, you then want to talk to everyone about it, and you want to start gathering people who haven't seen it, because it is, like I said, an experience. So I cannot wait to do this tonight. It is Tommy Wiseau's classic film. There's so many. After you've seen it, if you've already seen it, look up reviews for it, because just watching everyone's unique take on it is well worth it. So that is what's coming up, along with our final 2 reviews for Book of Boba Fett coming up the next 2 weeks. And then there'll be a little break in reviews. And during that break, we are looking at bringing back our speakeasies with me and Sean Wingblade, and occasionally a guest, probably Friday nights, working on the times. We will see how that goes. So there'll be a shift there. But really looking forward to it. Maddie Gunner saying, I'm waking up early for this watch along. I can't miss it. You definitely can't. And I think this is one of our most important videos to be a part of live.
For sure.
You want to be in the conversation again. Oh, and we will. We found a way. We're going to be sharing, because we're not too worried about copyright with The Room. We're going to be sharing the whole movie while we watch it. So it's on screen. So if you have never seen it, this is the opportunity to do it. Are you guys ready? With that final note, let me drop this banner here. Are you ready to talk about our weekly recommendations?
Hi, Audrey. Yeah, for sure.
Hi, Audrey. If you guys haven't already, go subscribe to Galaxy Geeks because they are fantastic and also do some
They
really
are
fun
complete
reactions.
gems of human beings.
Yes,
The
all
nicest
really
people
cute.
ever.
Which makes me feel really guilty because every time they're live, I hop in their chat and cause as much chaos as humanly possible. But that's what I'm
Classic
here for.
Jesse.
Yeah, that's
Pure-
that's the
pure
beginning
Jesse
of
mode.
my heel turn. Yeah, as the Jack of the Schmodown. Are you guys? Did Shug break Streamlabs? No, thank you for the subtle, not so subtle reminder. We did get 2 more donations. My guy, Shug
guy.
is just supporting my future children's college fund. First, he says, showing my son Top Gun for the first time made me tear up until my son's eyes got
That's a good
big
one.
during the lovemaking part. My son gave me a look like, am I supposed to watch this? You gotta learn someday. Shook said, so just learn Harry Potter is modern version of Star Wars. Yeah, it kind of is. A little bit. There's definitely a lot of similarities. Except for I feel like there's not really a Darth Vader. It's kind of like Voldemort is the Emperor.
It's true.
Oh, can you imagine
Which is-
Palpatine as played by Ralph Fiennes?
Ooh.
That
But both
would
of
be
those
something.
are modern versions of Lord of the Rings, so Tolkien still got it. So
Don't even get me started on that rant. 12 hours of my
Okay.
life will never get back again.
Once
You don't
again, if
like
you guys want to be
Tolkien?
part of... Uh-oh. And Allison was never allowed on News and Views again.
it's okay. I firmly believe everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and
Even when-
they're allowed to that. If they just because you don't like the things that I like, that's fine. Because I'm sure there are movies that you love that I don't, and that's okay.
We
It
have
hurts.
to live that way.
It really hurts.
Our love of Man of Steel means we have to live that way, and there's no alternative. Like we just
Yeah.
have to accept the fact that
Exactly.
people don't
All
like
three
it.
of us loving Man of Steel. That's exactly what it is. That's the that was actually the prerequisite of me being able to come and join Flick and Reel is that I had to like Man of Steel. I had to, like, when asked, point blank with no context, I said I liked it, and then Jesse's like, okay, you're in.
I've
right.
yet to
That's
have
how it
anybody give me a rational explanation as to why they didn't like the movie. Because every time they start to explain why they didn't like it, I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you... Oh, I know somebody who said they loved all the movie except for the part where he breaks Zod's neck, and then like, so the rest of the movie's trash?
Yeah.
Like, or is that really what we're doing? Like,
Wild.
where we're gonna pick one thing to throw the whole thing out in the trash?
They're the same people that says, like, I don't like Ben Affleck's Batman because Batman doesn't kill. And I said, show me the live action Batman that doesn't kill. Guess what? It doesn't exist so far because Michael Keaton blew up a building full of people, and freaking what's his name? Christian Bale. His whole thing is, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. That is involuntary manslaughter.
Luke Skywalker has one of the highest body counts in Star Wars, yet people don't seem to be upset with him about it.
Yeah, blowing up 2 Death Stars.
This is it.
whatever.
This is exactly what happens right there, Kelly. You're right.
She was not prepared. If you guys do not mind, I would like to kick off our recommendations for the week. I said that there would be a constant theme of comic books for me because not enough people read comic books, and I think that is what we should do. Oh, I just realized right here might be next week's recommendation. If you don't know what that is, until next time. Yeah, that is what it is. Okay. Scott is familiar, I believe, with this. So
Okay.
this is
that's the full
Injustice. This is the first year, yeah. I have all of them, all the way through Injustice 2. There was a game that came out about 2010, 2011 called Injustice Gods Among Us. Came out for like Xbox 360, PS3, and such. They had a game telling the story before, or the comic telling the story before the game started. It is dark. It is such an interesting take on the Justice League and the story. You see Superman having a bad day here on the back. And I think what Injustice is a better telling of a Civil War like story. I've read Marvel's Civil War. Injustice is a lot better. The dynamic between the characters is better. What's at stake is better. It's an Elseworld story, so they are allowed to take out main players and characters. You see characters like Batwoman die, Nightwing die. Spoil a little bit. Essentially, story takes off with Joker kidnapping Lois Lane, who is pregnant with Superman's son, and then putting a trigger inside her that is connected to a nuke that he has buried underneath Metropolis. He then tricks Superman with a kryptonite-laced fear toxin into believing that Lois is Doomsday. Superman then tosses Lois Lane out into space. She dies. Their unborn son dies, and the nuke underneath Metropolis goes off. So Superman, in one moment, loses his wife, his unborn child, and the city he lives in, along with all the Teen Titans living in that city. Jimmy Olsen, dead. All these people die. And it was the final straw. Superman said, no more. Peace across the world. I am getting rid of guns. I'm getting rid of gangsters. I am going to force peace on this planet. And so it is the story of Superman, who we kind of understand at this point, versus more level-headed Batman and a lot of other characters that are like, we cannot rule like this. We are not above these people. We are here to support them. Anyways, that is your taking off point. If you were to put all of Injustice together, it's probably about this thick of comics. And they've all come out in the last decade. It's incredible storytelling. It is my favorite DC comic run ever. And I have a lot of Batman stuff. I have a lot of DC stuff. Injustice is the best. Sorry I went on a rant with that, but I could do an hour podcast about Injustice easy with no preparation at all. So that was the short end of it. Allison, what would you like to recommend to the people watching?
People watching, reading. I mean, obviously, we're gonna listen to Behavior Geekology on my little sign right back here. We're gonna recommend that on all audio platforms. I've been enjoying reading, and I would recommend to anybody else who's especially if you're getting new into the Star Wars canon like I am. I've been having a really good time reading Lost Stars. So I'm
Lost
getting real
Stars
close.
is so good. I finished it.
Yeah.
I had the Audible of it. It's chef's kiss.
I'm having so much fun reading it. It's so good. Honestly, the only gripe people have actual gripes with Book of Boba Fett from what I've been reading and hearing. My only gripe is I can't own a Bantha or a BD1. It's they're giving me unrealistic expectations of things that I want to have in my life. So that's my only gripe with it. But I've been really enjoying and going into diving deeper into the canon and reading this. So I have Lost Stars. I'm gonna probably read Bloodline up next. That was another one that was recommended to me, along with a few others. So that's kind of really what I got. But really, go listen to Behavior Geekology, all audio platforms.
Which is how many days away now? 2?
Oh my God, it's 3. Yeah.
Today's
3.
29th, so the first, so 2 full days.
So yeah, it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, we're
having somebody, or I've already listened to it. I think it is phenomenal. Like I've said every episode for the past few weeks, I can't wait for episode 2. I feel like one of those people that gets to see a Disney Plus episode a week before everyone else, and then when they finally get it, I'm waiting for the next one already, and I have been for twice as long. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
It's fine.
Scott, what recommendations do you have to share? Last week, I believe you had the Silmarillion. The silly million,
Tolkien,
whatever it's called.
Tolkien as a whole, especially with Lord of the Rings coming out. But I don't want to get off topic. To echo something right quick, Injustice is amazing. Superman punching a hole through Joker's chest in the first, or I think it's the second week. Absolutely incredible. And I remember we worked at Fred's together, and every week we would be getting that new one when it came out the day of, and then talking about what happened, waiting week to week as they released it.
It started out as a digital comic. Yeah.
Yes. And $1.99 every week to pick that thing up, and it was gold every time. But then also when Alfred takes the bullet to the face because he's taken the pill that makes him impenetrable or bulletproof, or Superman, was one of the coolest moments in the book as well. That whole series, outstanding. But my recommendations, I'm going a little bit more old school. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Okay.
Okay.
Grabbing a real book, cracking this puppy open, reading it. I've read all the Sherlock Holmes stuff, so as I drop it, I've read all of Sherlock Holmes, and I'm revisiting that. And one of the things I love is the BBC series with Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch. So good, the way they take those stories that are the same stories and they just modernize them, and they do such a good job updating them, making them relevant to today, bringing technology and stuff in, but also the portrayals of Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman are absolutely incredible. And they cover all the story arcs of Sherlock Holmes, or pretty close to. And I think there's 4 seasons of that on the BBC.
I believe it is. And they're each about 3 episodes, about hour and a half long episodes. So it's like
so it's essentially a mini movie every time. And they're absolutely awesome. So Sherlock Holmes is what I'm recommending. Get into the books, read the old stuff, but also watch the BBC series. Especially if you've read the books, you can see the inspiration and the takeoff for every one of those storylines as it moves forward. So well done.
All right. Well, that wraps up our recommendations, which means that wraps up our show today. We did end up going a little long. I was like, let's do a short episode today. And then I was like, where did I think I could get these 3 people together, including myself, do a free-form conversation and have a shorter episode?
Usually we're an hour and 15, so this is still short.
That's true. That's true.
We can cover the gap if you need us to.
It's also entirely your fault because we went on a tangent about passions.
Yeah, take 10 minutes off of this puppy.
Yeah, that's Shook's fault, but he paid for that extra time, so you are forgiven.
You're welcome.
We also had a detour of a kickboxer dance too. Some things that hopefully will never be seen again.
Clip it out, guys. It's right there. Yeah, clip it out. So once again, we have Behavior Geekology coming out in just a couple days in the room. Watch along. Cannot wait tonight. So with that, guys, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. We hope to see you next week, and also for Boba Fett. And keep it real. We'll catch you on the flip side. Where is my outro video? I found it. Boom. Got it.
This is the sound of dun, 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 dun. It's the Flick and Reel Show.